with Haley Fountain. I just said, it's Fountain your real last name, Haley?
Yes, it is real. I'm a given name.
I love that. I love that. What a great last name.
Thank you. I love it too.
Great last name. So Haley, your title, you are a yoga instructor, you're a meditation instructor, you are a wellness coach,
hmm
and you only work with women.
Yeah, pretty much. I do take male clients by referrals, but my passion is really helping women because they feel that women have been underserved in the health space historically. So yeah, I'm passionate about helping women.
And how did you get into this?
I struggled with a lot of health issues growing up, and I struggled with really bad anxiety. And, my parents did what most, parents in their generation did, was take me to the doctor and get some medications because that's what you're taught, right? And that's what you're taught is the only solution. And so that's what they did. And I was taking a lot of medications, and once I graduated from university and I was getting into corporate America, I was just realizing I was taking so many medications, and I don't want to rely on something to get through the day. Like I want to even like caffeine, like that's a whole other story, but I don't drink coffee anymore. Like I don't want to rely on anything to get through the day. And so that's where it kind of started, is like, how can I heal my body naturally so I'm not relying on all these medications to get through the day? So that was kind of the crux of it. And it started off more like chemical free living, but it kind of evolved over time because as I got in more into wellness and biohacking and understanding my body, and got my health coaching certification and started working with a lot of women who were trying to improve their health in various ways, whether it was energy, weight, hormones, or all three. I started to realize that the biggest issue that many people are struggling with that no one is addressing is the nervous system regulation. And that's when I got into the yoga and meditation, because that nervous system regulation piece is so crucial. And it doesn't matter how healthy you eat, how much you exercise, if your nervous system is dysregulated, then everything's going to be off.
Okay, I love that, and I have so many questions. For one, given the world we live in today, and I'm not going to get into my political views, but enough people know what they are because of who I am. But like these shots that they're giving these babies, like I don't even remember. I mean, I think I gave my kids like maybe 10 or 12 shots, maybe total. I think in their whole, like that's including when they were in high school. And
Mhm.
now there's all these things that they're trying to give us, and then they're trying to jab us with these different, COVID and all the rest of these things. And I'm not gonna, I mean, for me, I did what worked for me. And I know some people did what worked for them, and people like to judge me because of my decision because I didn't do what everybody else did. I'm not a sheep or anything like that.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that? On what's going on with the medications that are out on that everybody is getting prescribed something?
I think medication has its place in society. I think medication is necessary for some people as a life-saving measure, but we are now living in a society where people are needing them just to get by day, and that's not okay. And I think it's frustrating to me. I agree with you. I think it's frustrating when there's so much content out there pushing medications. I mean, the fact that they even allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise to consumers is just literally bizarre to me, but that's a whole other tangent I can go on. But I think the problem is it's not, our healthcare system is a sick care system. It's not a healthcare system. And so that's why I'm so passionate about preventative health. And that needs to be the focus. And there's so much pushing of drugs and, shots and all these things on us, but nobody's talking about the things we need to do to prevent getting sick in the first place. So getting enough sunshine, moving your body, breathing, and drinking water, eating nutritious real foods, not foods that come in a package. And that is, I think, it's not either or, it's an and I think that there's a big it's so much easier obviously to push a pill on somebody, and then it benefits a large corporation, but we have to think about how can we prevent some of this stuff instead of trying to fix it with a pill, which is one step forward and two steps back.
And I have to tell you that I think it's kind of crazy that Travis Kelsey is like already on there, like constantly saying, we're going to get this and get this and get this. And we're getting shots. Oh, because some football guy got it. Okay, I'm going to go do that. And when we're in Europe, they don't do any of this, right? They're
No.
not allowed in Europe. And I think there has to be a correlation between young people. Now, by the way, everybody that's listening, this is again my opinion. There has to be a correlation between drug use with kids picking up medication and thinking it's okay to take whatever somebody hands them because everybody's taking pills all over that place.
Yeah, well, and you have to think nature always has a balance, right? And with every pill, it might fix something, but there's typically a side effect. There is always a balance with everything that you do. And I agree with you. We've grown up, and I mean, certainly I think it really started with my parents' generation of just there's a quick fix for everything, but there's no quick fix for your health and your fitness and your wellness, right? It's consistency, it's healthy habits. And it is scary to think that many people have that mentality of, okay, I have a problem. Let me just find a pill I can take quickly to fix it. And you get in that mindset. We live in an instant gratification world now, especially in our Western society. And it's a little scary to think that. And that's where people like you and I are trying to get out there and educate people on how to really take care of themselves and what health really is.
I love that. Now, have you helped anybody along your journey that has dealt with alcohol or drug issues personally?
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of clients who are, in recovery from alcoholism, and it's that's honestly where a lot of the interest and passion has come in the nervous system, health, because I realized that's where a lot of addiction stems from is nervous system regulation and not really having the tools to deal with that and reaching for a substance to help sort of numb those emotions and those natural primal reactions that we have in our bodies. And especially for women, I think for many reasons, not only women that struggle with addiction, but then there's a lot of societal conditioning and a lot of things that women, extra layers of stuff that women deal with, I think, in today's society, and generational trauma as well, with, women being oppressed in society. With all of that, really helping women to reconnect with their bodies, because I find so many people, not just women, but women in particular, they're just very disconnected from their bodies. And whether it's an addiction to alcohol or drugs or sex or shopping or work, I mean, that's an addiction too that we don't talk about. It's just it's a more socially acceptable addiction, right? But we seek all these things outside of us to sort of heal that. And so really helping women to understand how they can heal themselves through reconnecting with their body, reconnecting with their breath. It's a process, but yeah, it's great to see the transformation.
So wait a minute, because we do talk about it's bad to be addicted, obviously, to alcohol because we do things. I mean, I'm so happy I haven't had a drink in 17 years going, working on 18. But I'm so glad that I don't have that anymore. But, nicotine, gambling.
Coffee, caffeine.
And, I think it's really interesting because it's when we talk about work, we think that you're supposed to work so hard.
Yeah.
So hard and never take a break. And like back when I was growing up, and I was born in 1968. I don't know how old your parents are. I'm 55. So they're probably my same general age bracket. And when I was growing up, like Sunday was the day of rest.
Yeah.
Right. It was your day to just chill out, maybe watch football or baseball or whatever was on TV, but it was like family time. Now it's go, 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 go. There's no day that you're supposed to say, okay, I need a timeout. How is that affecting us as a society?
Well, we're constantly in fight or flight. We're constantly living. So we have this primal response that is designed to keep us safe, right? So when your body senses a threat, it kicks into this fight or flight mode. It activates the sympathetic nervous system, which tells your body, okay, we're about to fight something or run away. So it sends blood to your extremities, so that you can move your body in a more agile way. It increases your heart rate. It increases your respiratory rate. So you're taking more shallow, faster breaths to pump up, to get you ready to move or to fight. And it's going to slow down, turn off your digestion, because it's like, we don't want to have a bowel movement right now. We got to run from a tiger or whatever it is, So everything turns off. It impacts your fertility as a woman, because it's like, okay, well, we don't want to ovulate. We don't want to we're not trying to reproduce right now. We're trying to just survive. So this is a good thing, right? Because if there is a threat, you need to run away from this. But our bodies cannot, our primal brains are not evolved enough yet with how fast we have advanced as a society to understand the difference between a psychological stressor and a physical stressor. So when you're sitting in Houston traffic, or I live in Houston, when you're sitting in Houston traffic or wherever, if you're sitting in traffic on your way home from work and you're getting fired up, your body doesn't know the difference between that and running from a saber-toothed tiger. So that's where it becomes dangerous, because we have all these micro stressors happening all the time, and our nervous systems are just in fight or flight mode all the time. So as you can imagine, that response is good for short stints of time, but for long term, it is not good for us. And we also many of us do not have the tools in order to help our body shift back into that parasympathetic, that rest and digest. So if you watch animals out in nature, when a gazelle is running from a lion and they get away. Okay. So their body goes into fight or flight. They're running away. Then they finish, and then they get away from the threat, and you'll see they shake. Their entire body shakes. And that's because of the adrenaline and cortisol that's pumping through their veins that helps their body kind of dissipate that and sort of get back into homeostasis. So that's where you see like shaking, breathing, activating the vagus nerve, things like that we learn through yoga and meditation and other practices that are super helpful at activating that response. Most people don't know that. So your body just constantly stays in that spiral of pumping out all these stress hormones. And then we have to rely on medications and substances to help us calm down and then help us amp back up in the morning. And it's just this roller coaster.
Wow. And I can totally relate to everything you just said, right? I relate to everything you just said. We constantly are running. And I was born with this like ability to just go.
Yeah.
Now I think I'm diagnosed ADHD, even though I really haven't been diagnosed ADHD. Because I just have a lot of energy. It's just inside of me. But it makes so much sense that you're running and having to shake. I don't know if you've heard, I just had a doctor on, it actually aired today. And about how trauma, because that would be trauma, wouldn't it?
Yes.
From like thinking you're going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
That's trauma. And when you shake like you described, so do you have clients shake like that? Because she said that it moves the trauma by shaking.
Yes. Yeah, it actually moves it. So moving your body, it can be shaking, it can be like doing some like breath of fire, some really intense breathing exercises, even just like moving your body, like a lot of feminine, energy coaches I follow, they talk about that, like just kind of moving your body and dancing, or like getting into weird poses and really just like closing your eyes and like as if no one is watching, or, hopefully no one is watching, or if you're in a yoga class, I guess maybe someone can see you, but moving your body in a way that just feels good and just releases energy. Now, for someone who's never done this before, that can feel very foreign and maybe even a little intimidating and scary, but starting small and kind of working your way up to something like that can be so helpful for your nervous system, just to move all that energy out.
And how long do you tell somebody to do it for? Do they need to be doing it for 45 minutes, or what about 10 minutes?
I mean, 60 seconds will make an impact. The longer, the better, the more. I mean, yeah, if you can go take an hour-long yoga class and then go like lay in the sun, but even 60 seconds, like I tell my clients, if you're, I have some executive, female clients who spend all their days in meetings and all these things. And I'm like, sometimes you only have 5 minutes between, really important meetings, and 3 of those you need to go use the restroom and get a glass of water. So you really only have 2 minutes, 60 seconds of intentional breathing, shaking, moving your body, even giving yourself a hug. So you actually get, when you wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a hug, they found that when you hug someone you love or a pet, you get this nice big boost of oxytocin, the like feel good hormone, the happy hormone that helps you feel connected, but you can actually get that when you hug yourself. So that can be really soothing as well. So if you just give yourself a hug, which I just think that's really beautiful, because we can just give ourselves what we need, but learning to self-soothe, that's the thing that I think is missing in society. I don't have children, but, I think there's a big opportunity. I will certainly do this with my kids teaching them from a young age how to self-soothe and regulate their emotional state and their nervous system. So anyways, I digress, but yeah.
No, I love that because I think that there's so many moms out there. For instance, I know when I was raising, I mean, I have 3 kids. They're probably your age. How old are you?
I'm 29, about to turn 30.
Okay, so they're a couple years younger, but not
Yeah.
just a couple. And it was constantly run, 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 run. And you're picking up the crappy food because it's easy, right? You're on
Mhm.
the fly, you're going and you're constantly running, as you mentioned, from here to there. So if a mom or somebody who's leaving the office and they've been meeting after meeting after meeting, and to them, it's really important, but it's really stressful when they're in their car, they can just, even while in traffic, right? You can close your eyes just for 30 seconds and just take a deep breath.
Mhm. Yeah, taking a deep breath, like deep breathing, even listening to, yeah, like if you're driving, obviously you can't close your eyes for long periods of time, but you could listen to a track that just has like deep inhales and deep exhales, being mindful, going back to what you said about the ADHD. I've been looking into this topic a lot because everyone has ADD and ADHD now. Who doesn't? It's impossible not to. And I personally, this is my personal belief. I'm not a doctor, just, clarify, but I don't actually believe ADD or ADHD is an inherent thing that we have. I think it's a coping mechanism to trauma, stress, and chronic stimuli. Like we're constantly stimulated all day, every day. And it's just our primal brains have not evolved for this intense world that we live in. So, all that to say, yeah, you sometimes don't, and I feel bad even saying this sometimes because I don't have children, but I can only imagine when you're a mom, just maybe a single mom trying to meet ends meet, and someone's like, okay, well, just go breathe for an hour. You're like, seriously, who had, like, I got to put food on the table. So I'm mindful of that when I say not everyone has a ton of time to devote to this, but yeah, stacking it in when you're driving around or just before bed, taking a few deep breaths, stretching your body mindfully, putting your phone away a little bit before bed, or trying to get time away from technology, going for a walk for 10 minutes outside in the sun, putting your bare feet in the grass, like just finding ways to decompress, whatever that looks like for you, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes a day, will help you. It will ripple out into every other area of your life as well. When people think they don't have time for things, you can often find that when you take a few minutes to slow down, time actually stretches. It's really beautiful and magical.
I love that. This morning I got out and I live in Florida, so it's warm still. And I
Mhm.
went out and I put my feet in the grass. And there's something about grounding. Will you talk about that grounding that you mentioned? And even a
Yeah.
tree, right? Hugging a tree. It's
It
crazy.
is the tree huggers. I know. I'm such a hippie now. It's really cool. So they call it the grounding effect or the earthing effect. There's been books written on it, a lot of studies on it. So basically, whenever the earth gives off negative ions that kind of interact with our body and help reduce inflammation, reduce stress, they found that people that get like 5 to 10 minutes of earthing or grounding a day have improved moods, lower levels of depression and anxiety. They have more energy during the day. It's really healing and it's free. So I'm always like, just get out there, reconnect with nature. Cause if you think about it, even if you're spending a lot of time outside, like let's say you're a runner and you go for a run every morning, you're not actually touching the earth. You're wearing rubber shoes and we don't actually interact with the earth. I mean, that's another thing. Again, our primal bodies have not evolved for this world where you're never actually touching the earth. Like if you think about it, unless you're intentional, especially as an adult, maybe as a kid, you're playing in the grass and stuff, but as an adult, when was the last time you touched the bare earth?
On the beach is the only
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
I I live in Florida, so I go to the beach all the time. And of course, you don't wear shoes on the beach, right? You're like, okay,
Right.
the only place when you walk. And I feel like, why does everybody, there has to be a correlation with that, right? With like
Yeah.
going to the beach and being happy.
Yes. I mean, it is. And even the amount of sunshine you get living somewhere like Florida, or I mean, I'm in Houston, so I get quite a bit of sunshine as well. People are happier in the South. There's a reason for that. Like, and the seasonal affective disorder, it's a real thing, because we need that sunshine. We need the connection to the earth. We need the fresh air. And all that is free. And it's available as long as you live somewhere where the sun's out. They do have like fancy machines you can buy that give the earthing, excuse me, the earthing effect, but they're like $5,000. And I'm like, just go for a walk in the grass. You don't need to buy that.
I love that. Haley, you're so full of wisdom and you're beautiful. And so if people want to come And if they can find you, you're on social media, on every different app. And do you see clients remotely as well?
Yes, I do work with clients in person and remotely. I do one-on-one coaching. I also have a few group programs. I am on Instagram. My business is called Holistic in Houston. So I'm on Instagram at holistic_in_Houston. My website is holisticinhouston.com. I think those are the two best ways to find me.
And so that's going to be on, by the way, in my description. So when you want to go look, you'll be able to go straight to her links. I want to ask you one more question. So when you're dealing with someone who's just decided that they don't have a good relationship with alcohol and they want to change, what is one thing or two things you have those people do?
I'm a big believer in habit stacking. And so what I find with a lot of people who have, I would work with a client struggling with alcohol the same way I would with a client who struggles with a coffee addiction or a work addiction. Because in my mind, and this is just in my practice, I'm not, again, I'm not a doctor. I don't, work with any sort of like rehabilitation programs, but in my mind, addiction is addiction. And I think we have more socially acceptable ones and not, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. And so I start with habit stacking. For a lot of people, it is, you have a cue, action, reward, right? That's how habit is built. Something cues it, you take the action and you get the reward. So with the alcohol, they have a cue of like feeling stressed and needing to decompress. The action is drinking the alcohol, and the reward is that sort of mellow feeling you get because the alcohol is a little bit of a downer. So we work on replacing that with something else. So usually using, okay, if I normally just drink a glass of wine at 5:30 when I get home from work, what's something else that I'm going to do? So then we kind of go through their daily routine and figure out what other things give them a little bit of that dopamine hit, give them that little bit of feeling good. So for a lot of them, it's exercising, or it's like, okay, when I finish dinner, instead of having my glass of wine, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to create an accountability group by having some friends that we all meet and do some sort of activity together at the time that I would have normally done that. Or I'm going to call my mom and, go outside. So whatever it is, we pick something else to replace that habit. And then we create healthier habits by kind of habit stacking on top of that. So that's one of the things. And then the other one is the nervous system regulation. So when they feel that feeling of like, I just really want to have a drink right now, or I really need that cup of coffee, or I really need to text my ex, or whatever it is, I'm like, okay, let's work on the breath. So creating that cue to be like, okay, when I feel stressed, instead of reaching for something outside of myself, I actually go more inward and I focus on my breath. I connect with my body. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it in my body? I take 90 seconds to actually just scan my body. And it's actually pretty amazing. And they're able to actually, whatever they're feeling, allow it to pass. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but those are the two areas. So creating a new habit to replace that old, reward, and then also working on the nervous system regulation and the breath.
So amazing. You're amazing. I'm so excited.
You're amazing.
I just feel like since we've been talking, I'm taking my deeper breaths. I haven't gotten to yoga today. I'm not going to get till tomorrow. And I'm just definitely breathing right now. And
Me too.
I feel like a lot of us need to take that time. We're going so fast all the time. What are we waiting for? We need that time just to get quiet and just,
Yeah. And a lot of what we're struggling with, we try to numb and try to numb things out and try to ignore uncomfortable emotions. But I found for myself and for a lot of my clients, when we actually create space for a lot of those things we're trying to avoid, we can work through it and we don't feel the need to numb things anymore. And you feel a lot freer, a lot lighter, and a lot happier. So
amen to that, sister. Amen to that. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you.
thank you, Elizabeth.
Feeling you're going to write a book. I just feel this feeling that you're going to write a book.
I'm planning on it.
When you better call me right away and say, I'm coming back on and going to talk about my book. Okay.
I will.
Promise?
I promise.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciated it. Everybody, this was wonderful. You can read more about Haley. Go into the description. I'll tell you every which way to be in touch with her. And until next time, everybody, keep getting busy, living. Bye-bye, everybody.